Hey, good morning. It's a great day in the USA, as we always say here. I'm trying to pop out the chat. Hold on a second. Pop out chat so I can talk to y'all. Good morning. So it's good to be here on Wake Up Patriots. I'm woken up. Well, I'm not woke. I'm waking up. It's related. And I, as we go through the days and recognize the bounty of beauty and benefit of being an American is great. Also, I am wearing Def Leppard because I'm reminded by the sleepy music that opens the show that Def Leppard is not sleepy, and they're actually kind of British. Imagine that these days, actually having a flag. Anyway, they were pretty cool. Something else is pretty cool. As cool as the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. Def Leppard is Chris Cordani. Good morning, Chris.
Hey, no, I'll take Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. Well, I like Joe, the lead singer for
Joe Elliott. Yes.
For Def Leppard. Joe Elliott. He's getting old. He looked old on stage, and I like him. I don't know him, but I.
Well, the coolest thing about Def Leppard, and I was never a big fan in the 80s. And not because of their music, just because it kept getting overplayed on the radio stations. I'll put that aside. True. The best thing about the band was the fact that the drummer got into this horrid car accident, lost the use of his arm and one of his legs.
And they kept him, and he's still there. Yeah.
And he still drums well. So
it's amazing. He did a drum solo.
Yeah.
He with one arm, he can do more than the entire Democrat Party. Did you know that?
That's true. Of course, I think we know where one of their arms is busy most of the time. At least people like Brandon Johnson and Jeffrey Toobin.
Yeah, Jeffrey. So Brandon Johnson strikes me as someone he's got some real issues, and he's probably insecure in a lot of different ways. And what's up with the pointy hairdo? What is that?
I think he's trying to look like Squiggy.
Must be. Well, he had some interesting words with Governor Pizza the Hut.
Yes. And you know what? Governor Pritzker was not even there for any other reason besides waiting till afterwards, hoping the spread's pretty good for 6-7 sandwiches.
2 or 3 more new come into our city. Chicago will continue to have a violence problem as long as red states continue to have a gun problem.
No.
All right, hold on a second. All right.
No.
I got a question for you. Is Illinois a red state?
So,
wait. Okay. Red in the sense that commies run it. Yes.
Well, I think so. Let's break this down right away. I'm not even going to dance around this. Illinois, most of the state is red. They've gerrymandered away. So he's kind of highlighting their own issue. Like, yeah, you've prevented the people of Illinois actually having a voice. Just saying, any Marxist does that. He did it. Pritzker. And then secondly, regarding this whole thing, Chris, and the Patriots know this too, it's not the guns. Look, I've got guns right here. I've got guns everywhere. I've got them, around the house. They don't jump up and shoot people. It's not the gun. The gun is a paperweight unless someone picks it up and uses it. So just saying, it's not the guns. And so, and by the way, I live in North Carolina, rural North Carolina. I see people all the time walking around with open carry, often, almost every time I'm out in the public, and I often carry. And Chris, do you know how many times I've seen guns up and just shoot people?
I've seen that a couple times on maybe some fake YouTube videos. The Mexican jumping guns.
The Mexican jump. We don't have those here. Yeah. So just saying, these things. This is not the problem. The problem are people like Brandon who promote the violence in his city, because up till now they've had lax laws which allow for and encourage violence as a means of political speech within the community. And just this last weekend, 8 people died and 50 were shot. Chris, does that sound like a mass shooting to you? It does to me when you talk about mass shootings But Pritzker was interviewed by a local reporter. Yeah, he said, "Yeah, it's a big city. It's violence." He doesn't bother to mention that all of those victims were black. So I believe this is an extension of the racist policies of a certain party that actually was the home for the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis, and a few other, inconvenient truths of the left. So I'm just saying, Chris, I think this is all nonsense. But Brandon Johnson takes the cake here. This is insane.
Right. I brought this up when we were before you came on the air yesterday. The idea is these leftist policies, like these pro-crime the pro-crime policies, I'm not letting anybody help us get rid of our massive problem within the black community policies, coupling that with not even bothering looking at the mental illness factor of the transgender community, having them kind of remember, this is not just a this is not just an extremely high proportion of mass shootings that target children in religious institutions, but also a higher than normal suicide rate of that same community. So rather than trying to fix the problem or help the problem along, they're creating more of the problem to kill more of them, under the guise of helping them to get their votes. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
And these people are the ones remember, a lot of these fully woke people are the ones destroying their party. So maybe within the strategies to kill them off.
Yeah. Well, go to my Facebook. I'm not Facebook. I was watching something else doing prep. I'm geezing here. No, I was watching a review of Ice-T's War of the Worlds. We should talk about that sometime. It's got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's horrible. Anyway, but I digress. No, I was distracted because get this, in that movie, the Martians eat Facebook.
Well, that's a good one. We can handle that.
Anyway, we can't cover it now. I'll get distracted. But back on the issue of Brandon on my X, and go follow me on X if you don't. Chris and I are up to shenanigans on my X account.
Yes,
we'll be doing some stuff tomorrow night. Right, tomorrow is our first interview with my friend John Huddy from Newsmax, and we're going to be talking about 9/11 stuff. So anyway, Unfiltered Truth. There we are. So tomorrow night, 8:00, my friend John Huddy from Newsmax. We're going to be talking about 9/11 issues at all of that. Anyway, Chris, I'm sorry, I'm geezing here, but go to my because the reason I'm mentioning my X is because on there's a video of Brandon Johnson campaigning. He said, "I will part the seas." No. He said, "I will end gun violence. I have a plan to end it." So he said that when he was campaigning for mayor, and now these mayors like, "Oh, it's not my fault. It's the guns." It's that insane. And these people have gotten away with it for the last 2 decades because of the liberal media. Now, people aren't going to tolerate it. At least I hope not. I hope not. So.
They will, because whatever their overlords tell them is what they're going to keep repeating, and they're going to keep hearing. And they're going to keep on the lowest ranks of those people, your liberal friends on social media who are sitting there trying to parrot what these people say, almost knowing that they're wrong, but thinking, I still have to hold the fort, because when people realize that this is all a bunch of a house of cards, when people realize it's all BS and all gaslighting, their belief system is going to destroy themselves. And again, the mental illness that surrounds the left, we're going to see some serious problems. But here's J.B. Pritzker, and believe me, I don't think he was walking for very long before or after this. This is making
you can see he's already sweating and like getting ready to pass out from walking 10 meters.
That's right. But when asked about violence in Chicago, I think the predictable answer was, well, let's hear J.B. say it.
Going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead. Yeah, they're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight, or after 9 o'clock at night even, to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it.
Of course.
But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago.
All right, you go. There you go.
He's overlooking
Oh my God.
red states that have much higher crime rates.
All right, a couple of things. This whole bunk about red states having much higher crime rates. This is what the left is trying to tell you here, and it is technically true. The problem is these red states are sparsely populated in a lot of these rural areas. They're what takes up a lot of the population, and a higher, not high enough to take the governorships, but very high, are these cities with urban blight in the middle of them. Generally, blue cities with the high crime rates, and that skews up. See, the high crime rates in these cities skew the numbers for the entire state.
And
Orange Men.
Yeah, look at Virginia, which is technically a blue state, which is mostly red once you get outside the cities, but all the crime is in the big cities. Richmond, Northern Virginia, which is a spillover from D.C., Virginia Beach, but that's kind of, because the crime rate here is way less. We're close to Virginia. As a matter of fact, that's where I saw Def Leppard, was Virginia Beach. So it's in areas where you have bad policies like New York, like Baltimore, like DC, like Chicago, where you have these huge crime rates. So if you break it down by city, Chris, there's no comparison. This guy is a knucklehead. Now, to think about what he's defending here, he's saying, we don't want President Trump to come tell us or show us how to stop the murder of my black citizens. That's what he's saying.
Right. And that basically is what they're saying. They're going to keep pushing this mantra. In fact, I was reading New York City bragging about the rate of shootings has gone down. Problem is, the murder and rape rate has gone up. So it's high crime, and they're trying to find a way. The left is trying to find a way to minimize these high crime numbers. Where in fact, you already heard Muriel Bowser reading off how crime stats have really improved over the last week.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I mean, carjackings are down. No one wants to jack a car when there's threat of being arrested.
No, there's been record no murder in D.C., which is a good thing, right?
Right.
And no murder is a good thing.
Look, the fact is these cities actually do need help. And maybe some of these mayors should swallow their pride a little bit and say, all right, well, our police forces aren't, in a perfect world, they say, our police forces are a little low, a little undermanned right now. We can't pay them for triple overtime all the time. We get that. So maybe we can use a little bit of help. The governor should be doing something, but of course they won't. The idea is they want to
change their
police. Right. Well, they can't pull back from defund the police.
Yeah. Well, they're going to try. They're going to say, oh, well, it's not us. It's like Gavin Newsom is now pro law enforcement just for the time it takes for people to see him as a potential presidential candidate. It's all pandering. Like Brandon Johnson saying, oh, I'll stop all the crime. They don't want to stop it. They never stop it. It's their policy to create it. They benefit from the creation of crime because it gives them power and gives them the ability to use that power to maintain their little phony baloney scheme of grifting to get taxpayer money. That's what it's all about. Now, as of today, they've changed their tune a little bit. I think Governor Pizza the Hut said that he's willing to take federal troops or federal officers, but not soldiers, because it looks bad for him at this point.
No, that's true too. And the fact is, he's kind of backing down on this because he knows that there is a certain level of constituency within his state that he kind of needs. And these are the people who are in the middle and kind of caught up in all this crime. And you're finding out that and believe me, these people do govern by Twitter. They govern by what they see on social media and TikTok. You're seeing more and more people in these neighborhoods saying, well, look, the drugs are horrible. The gang shootings are horrible. Children are being lost here in the crossfire. There are people in these neighborhoods welcoming, and I'm talking about the good, honest people welcoming the idea of some either increased police presence or maybe some National Guard help. Yeah.
So it's all theater, and not good theater. It's stupid theater by stupid people. And Pritzker is stupid and fat. Remember that thing from Animal House Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, and yet here's Pritzker doing it. So
yeah, Bluto, that's his name, right? Bluto.
Yeah.
Believe me, his governing skills match Bluto's grade point average.
That's right.
0.0.
So so they're going to be forced into this, and President Trump said he's going to deploy forces to Chicago. And man, oh man, Chris, do you think that they'll survive the first contact with deep dish Chicago pizza? That's a lot of calories. They'll be looking like J.B. Pritzker in a day.
That's true. So. Or in fact, that Pritzker may have hogged all the pizzas, and they find nothing to eat.
Yeah. It'll be hard to find an all-you-can-eat buffet since someone all you could eat it. It's going to be eaten. All you can eat and have eaten buffet, right? So
right. So let's get lower. If it's hard to get lower than J.B. Pritzker and generally Kathy Hochul and Gavin Newsom at this point, but we can, as far as governors in the U.S. go. The lowest of the low is perhaps this Tim Walz. Tim Walz, who was his 20 minutes of fame included that failed campaign for vice president, where he actually did the impossible. He actually found a way to drag down Kamala Harris's campaign.
Yep, even more. More.
Right. This guy was actually, again, this shows exactly what the people on the left are like. Remember, the people that are calling you maggots and horrible people because you voted for Donald Trump, somebody they kind of fear. This is the kind of people who they choose as leaders.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying.
I expect this out of the worms that I see on the internet because they're hiding behind keyboards all the time. But this is somebody they call a leader, a potential candidate for president. I mean, against that group of zeros, I guess anybody could be. But the fact is, he is the leader of a state. He is telling people he hopes the president, a sitting president, is dead. He was hoping to hear news that the president was dead. Think about that. This is the people that a majority of the people of Minnesota elected. These are the people that call you maggots, call you trash, and they wanted to lock you up and lock you down during COVID, and they wanted to curtail your free speech. These are the people who think they're the only ones who deserve free speech.
It's just incredible the level of arrogance. I mean. Plus, I don't know if you've heard, Chris. They've had to, he's going around to a number of the Minnesota state, Minnesota fairs and local jurisdictions, and they've had to hide the horses from him. Like he shows up and it's like no horses are present because he likes certain parts of horses, which we will not talk about.
But when Gavin comes, they hide the goats.
That's right. But I'm just saying, this fantasy soldier, as I put on my X post, who pretended to be a sergeant major at one point, really has some issues. And I cannot imagine, thank goodness, that this guy wasn't, could have been vice president, one cackle away from being president. Heartbeat. Sorry, I meant heartbeat.
Well, cackle, heartbeat, either way.
Anyway.
It's embarrassing. Well, she was trying to make sure that nobody would try to squeeze her out of the presidency.
Well, that's what Joe Biden did with her.
Right.
That didn't work very well. So anyway,
it did work for.
Let's talk.
It did work.
Yeah, let's talk about Minnesota. So, by the way, Chris, I spent some time in Minnesota. As a matter of fact, a certain person from Minnesota is probably watching right now. Shout out, Melissa. Right. It used to be Minnesota nice. Minnesota nice used to be the saying, right? Right, Chris? Minnesota nice. Now it's Minnesota. Can I put some arsenic in your funnel cake? I mean, this is horrible.
Well, it's more than horrible. It's and I'm trying to look up something for you too, by the way, because I'll get there in a minute. But it's horrible. It's the way these people think. It's their mentality. They do. These are normally very self-centered people. And again, any of these parents who are so-called or try to call themselves sensitive and pat themselves on the back for allowing their kid to transgender. No, they're just patting themselves on the back to show off. Hey, look at me! Look how open I am! Look how cool I am because I have a transgender kid. And they do push these things. These are people who only believe in leftism and only believe in this whole fake kindness to make themselves look good. It's what the kids call virtue signaling, but it's really been a phenomenon for decades upon decades, possibly even centuries.
Yeah,
but it always
yes,
comes
Melissa. Yes, thank you, Melissa. Yes, thank you.
There we go. So you got the shout out from Melissa. Nice job.
I got the shout out back. Yes, thank you. Anyway, so let's continue with our discussion of Minnesota Nice because I think it's kind of cool. Remember, let's talk about Minneapolis. You know what Minneapolis stands for, right?
No.
Many gays and lesbians in Indian. So
all right, that's fine. We can do that. I thought it was many people who had a shortage of apples.
Well, that's a different language.
Right.
That's the Russianized version of Ufta.
Let's play Boofta.
Oof. All right. So we had what's the guy's name? The mayor of Minneapolis.
Oh, that's Jacob Gray, the whiny
Jacob
crybaby Jacob Gray.
Did you know he's calling for the ban of assault weapons? And it's like, and he gets a question from the media. It's like, hey, what are assault weapons? He can't answer it. Do you have that clip? Because this is hilarious.
I do, as a matter of fact. I'm going to grab that for you.
And I want to talk about this.
Right. I want to throw something else at you too about this whole red state, blue state thing. Do you remember back in when you were watching television in 1976 and 1980? I'm going to pull up. I'm going to try that. I know I have the Jacob Gray clip somewhere along the line here. I'm going to find. But remember the colors for the parties? Republicans used to be colored blue, and the Democrats used to be colored red. So when you hear red state and blue state, it was actually the reverse in the 70s and 80s when it came to coverage in these maps.
Because every election they try to switch it back and forth. Just saying, that's why they would do it. No,
mysteriously, after it's somewhere late 80s, early 90s, I forgot when. Mysteriously, they switched the colors from they switched the Republicans to red and Democrats to blue for the sole purpose of not associating the Communist Democrat Party with the color red. And believe me, look back at it. It's down the memory hole when it comes to the internet. You're not going to find too much of it, but dig in, you'll find it. I actually told this to Jerry, and Dr. Corsi didn't even believe me. Then he looked at it and he researched it. Said, yeah, now I see it. You remember, it jarred his memory and he remembered it. He also saw it. You can dig and find it. I've been trying to find some of these clips, but it's very difficult to find them all around here. The fact is, it's true. And the idea is when you hear the term red state, honestly, we should really be calling the Democrat states red states because they're run by communists.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's what it's all about.
This is why the media did not want their friends in the Democrat Party being associated with communists. Now, speaking of communists, here's your guy. Want to hear him?
Yeah.
So we have had bans on assault weapons nationally before. That ban then expired. And so it's not as if this is some unique thing that has never been tried. Other countries.
What are these guys doing in the background? They're like, oh my God, what happened here? I don't want to listen to this guy. Hey, did you drop a penny on the floor?
Have had mass shootings. And then rather than sit on their hands, they have made the move to ban assault weapons so that kind of thing doesn't happen again. The only difference is we haven't made that move in decades. And so we're in the position to do it now. Are there logistics that need to be worked out, just like any piece of legislation? Of course there are. Of course there are. But we got to have the argument. We got to take the necessary steps, and we're in the position now to act.
Can you be more specific about assault weapon is a fairly arbitrary term that would need to be defined. You talk about banning certain models, certain assaulted features. Speak to how.
And the people in the back are like, oh no. We didn't expect anybody to ask this question.
Yeah, this is great.
Right. Generally speaking, we're talking
Generally
about
speaking.
guns and devices that are built to be assault weapons and or devices that are built to shift non-assault weapons to be able to reel off a whole bunch of bullets all at once.
By the way, did you notice this guy has the mannerisms, moves, and the facial movements, the head tilts, and the vocal patterns of one Beta O'Rourke.
Yeah.
You're not going
they're
to unsee
brothers.
that now. That's right.
They're brothers.
And we've
They're
seen
brothers.
both of those in our city. We have seen the ability to simply.
Hey, Biveth, let's get rid of the assault weapons and stuff. yeah, that's gonna be cool.
So keep going. I want to hear the rest of this because I want to explain something as soon as he's done. So
Attach a device to a non-assault weapon, and suddenly it is made into one that can reel off 30 rounds. We're trying to prevent both of those things from happening.
So some models and also certain assaulted features.
That's correct.
Is there a state-
all right, so let's stop it there for
some sort of-
this is how stupid they are. First off, there's no such thing as assault weapon. The only time the term assault weapon was ever adopted, and by the way, I find this ironic, not really, that the Democrat Party has picked up a term that was created. Chris, you're going to love this.
Right.
The term assault weapon was created by Adolf Hitler when he was talking about the Sturmgewehr.
Another
44.
National Socialist, mind you.
I know. Well, they're all National Socialists, I guess, at this point. But that is a Nazi. Literally, this is you could look it up. The Sturmgewehr. Basically, it was a storm rifle, an assault rifle. That was the first and only time it's ever been used. And the guy who used it was Adolf Hitler. Just say it. So the Democrats have now picked up a term of art created by Adolf Hitler, and they own it. so there you go.
Well, that's
Now,
what they did.
So what he's trying to say is, there's weapons that look scary. Like, let me show you a scary weapon. This is scary. This is my home. This is my home defense weapon. As you know, I live in the middle of nowhere. So, this is effective to out about 100 yards. And I got a light on it. Ooh, it's scary. It's a light. And I've got pop-up. Sights. Ooh, scary. And I've got another sight there too. You pull it off and it puts a red dot on things. And here's a scary magazine of 30 rounds. By the way, Chris, this is a standard magazine. This is not high capacity. This is
not a
standard.
dirty magazine.
This is what the military issues. And oh, by the way, I've got other scary ammunition. I've got armor piercing. Look at that, green tips. Woo! It's scary. Oh, now I can take out cars.
Let's do a close up on that one more time. I like that.
Yeah,
All right.
let's get the green tip ammunition there. That's steel. That's steel tipped ammunition. I can take out a battalion of tanks now, right? That's what you're telling me. Apparently, I can go and drop into a country and take out an entire column of Saddam Hussein's tanks. Anyway, and here's a big old. This is double. This is 60 rounds. 60 rounds.
Oh, look,
60.
Tony, this is not a trope. In fact, what these people are doing is masking the idea of disarming the public to make sure the Democrats and leftists can push their policies. They want censorship
let me make the
programs
point.
like Britain has.
So what he's trying to say, part of it is that these bullets will especially the AR. Let me tell you something. This is something known as a 10 millimeter pistol. 10 millimeters. And 10 millimeters is bigger than that's 5.56 millimeters. This is 10 millimeters. It's kind of double. Let me tell you something. You shoot someone with one of these. Look at that. Can you do a close up on that, Chris?
And I'll do that again. One more close up right here.
That's a big bullet. This is a big bullet. Just saying. Your sizes may vary, but 10 millimeters, 10 millimeters. So he wants us to believe, that the smaller built bullet. This is the 5.223. Anyway, my point being is they have no idea what they're talking about. They don't understand ballistics. They don't understand that basically that this magazine. Let me go on. I'm going to go on a record. I'm going to go out on a limb. Chris, I forecast this will not be used in any mass shooting ever. Right?
Right, because some of these wimps that do the mass shootings can't even lift those. But that's another story for another day. In fact, did you hear that Tim Walz, like we talked about, he may be running for president, and he's thinking of having Jacob Gray as his vice presidential running mate. Their slogan is going to be, check it out, less guns, more gerbils.
I think the gerbils piece is important, especially since he's a kind of a soft Hollywood-looking guy. By the way, again, back to did you know that Tim Walz wants to do a Mr. Ed line of horse milkshakes? Did you know that?
Yeah, I think he wants to milk the horses.
Oh, well.
All right. Before we get to Dr. Yan, who's coming on pretty soon, because we're going to talk about a very serious topic about the CCP and their bioweapon strategies.
Yeah.
This
I was
video
talking about
really
it
bothered me.
this morning.
I wanted to pass this video by you and the Patriots. I'm a Met fan, as you know, so I'm always used to disappointment.
Oh, yeah. Go through this.
This was a very disappointing video when it came, but it's a surmise of society and the entitlement of a lot of people. I'm not saying this is political. I'm just saying a lot of people are very selfish in this society. They don't care about others, and they're just absolutely awful. And this is where the dumbing down and destruction of society kind of leads to. Now, I was always taught when I was younger to be nice to others. If the ball comes to you, catch it. If somebody else has the ball, let them have it. When you get older, you're a young man, you think, oh, let the children have the ball first, or elderly, unless it comes right to me. Well, this jerk, by the way, there's an elderly man here who got a ball during a Met game, a foul ball, and this jerk, a much younger man, takes it right out of his hand. Watch this. It just really disgusted me.
Chelsea comes in. Oh, guy's fighting over the ball. Come on now.
Oh, wait a second. Give it to a kid.
Yeah. Look at this guy.
Took it away from an old guy.
Look at this. Look at this shit, a crap-eating grin this guy has after taking the ball out of the hands of an elderly man. They actually replayed it again, too. Check it out.
You know, it's interesting. Kelsey comes in. Oh, guy's fighting over the ball. Come on now.
Oh, wait a second. Give it to a kid. Took it away from an old guy.
Yeah. And the wife's like, don't worry. When he gets up and gets his 43rd beer, we'll just take the ball back. But anyway, this is the kind of thing that we're talking about. And I think we lost Tony for a moment. So what do you think, Patriots? Is this what society is all about to you guys? Yeah, thank you, Denise. You're right about. I couldn't believe this guy. What an arse. That's exactly what it is. As the best one. Loves Christ. The ball is reparations. Best comment of the game. You're right, Deb. Shame, shame, shame. This guy should be embarrassed. And by the way, this should be made viral. So if you find this, just pass this one along. This guy, yeah, I know he has a nice Louis Guillaume beard. He can't beat that. But he took the ball out of an elderly man's hands when he has so many other chances to get a ball and wouldn't even give it to a kid either way. Because I'm sure the man would be fine if it was just a kid getting the ball. But he takes it for himself, he has that crap-eating grin and smiles and brags to his friends and doesn't realize he's looking like an ass on television. Now, Tony's going to be back here. I think he had a little power issue, but with me is one of my favorite people, my friend and very cool guest here on Wake Up Patriots, Dr. Li-Meng Yan. Thank you for being here, Dr. Yan. And Tony will be back in just a moment when he gets the power back. I think the CCP is after his house.
Hi, Chris. Nice to see you again. Thank you for having me again.
By the way, Dr. Yan, everybody knows who she is. She used to be with she came here from China, exposed the Wuhan Institute of Virology. She's a famed virologist and host of The Voice of Dr. Yan. You can find that on America Out Loud Talk Radio Network. So that's a lot of fun. I'm there too, by the way, if you want to check me out on Unleash the Political News Hour. I sound pretty cool. I think I'm on tonight, am I? Yeah, I'm on tonight at 7. Boy, is it 6? Yes, 6. I'm on tonight at 7. That's what it is. I don't even know anymore. All right. Dr. Yan, I listen to you regularly. And I have the pleasure of actually editing your show, so I get to hear it more often.
Thank you so much. You're always so nice to me.
Oh, always. So I'm back behind the scenes. And I'm thinking we got to have her on more. So we always go back and forth. You're on with my friend Dr. Corsi. You did really interesting programs in recent months on the CCP because nobody's talking about them right now. there's always President Xi disappeared, blah, blah. Where was he? And now he's back. You got the BRICS, they're trying to de-dollarize the country. But behind the scenes, they're working on a massive bioweapons strategy and bioweapons program that really doesn't get talked about. So let's jump into it. First off, what have you seen when you were there? And then what have you heard since you left?
You mean about bioweapon?
Yes.
Actually, we get more information even after I escaped because our sources in China, those people around Xi Jinping, when they see my whistleblowing and they know, oh, come on, she knows the fact. And then, so they managed to deliver more information to us. But anyway, before I leave Hong Kong, because I escaped from Hong Kong in April 2020, at that time, because I was a virology in University of Hong Kong, which is a lab for WHO collaboration, as well as WHO reference, as well as China's emerging infectious disease K lab. So we basically work with a bunch of very top experts in especially emerging infectious disease, including SARS-1, COVID-19 and MERS, all this kind of Ebola, this kind of dangerous virus, and WHO listen to our suggestions, get our data like that. So anyway, because I studied from the two top different medical universities in China, and I have my friends work in either military or civil labs, hospitals, including Beijing CDC headquarters office. So at that time, before I leave China, I start to review the COVID-19 truth since 19th January 2020 from all the media on YouTube based in US. So at that time, I already know COVID-19 virus is not a common virus, definitely not come from animal at all. And by the way, did I tell you that Chinese government tried to make me the person who discovered the animal host of COVID-19 virus, but I rejected that and revealed that through the media in January 2020. They tried to make me discover that raccoon dog is the animal host from Wuhan seafood market. But after my investigation, I rejected this narrative and delivered that to the media. So basically now you will see still the scientists in nature origin theory, they're still promoting the raccoon dog theory, but they even don't know I'm the person, or they don't want to admit I'm the person firstly rejected that. And also, I know military because I have friends who work in military, and I know virus. I know how they could edit virus, how they could engineer that. And also, I know Chinese Communist Party because I lived in mainland China for almost 30 years. And so altogether, when you see the evidence, it's not conspiracy. We know that come from the lab is more than gain of function, more than dual use. We see the weaponized characteristics from the virus, and we can identify many bioweapon experts involved in that in People's Liberation Army from their previous records, working records.
And viruses can be fought. All right. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but the gain of function research and everything else going on over there, one would assume, and again, listening to you more often, would find that China has been working on these. I'm going to label super virus. And it's something that it would be very difficult to fight. And COVID-19, you said, wasn't a normal virus. A lot of people who were compromised beforehand suffered permanent damage. And then, of course, you had the after effect of that, where the solutions, if you will, fake solutions, the jabs. I'm going to use the term jab, was also took down enough healthy people as well. So, what's the next step for China when it comes to bioweapons? They thought, well, it looks like they found a way to stop COVID-19. There's some there's lockdown plans. There might be other ways to destroy people in that respect. And again, I'm not a fan of the lockdowns. The lockdowns were probably a happy after effect to keep people from figuring out what's going on.
So China government called it as Pandora box. So once you open the Pandora box, then a lot of disaster come out, right? So the thing is, Chinese Communist Party believe that bioweapon is poor people's nuclear weapon. So in China, they try to develop advanced nuclear weapon, clearly still far away from the United States, but they believe they could use low cost and easier technology for bioweapons. And so COVID-19 is not a traditional bioweapon. It is low lethal, low death rate, but low cost also. And as you said, they could generate a series of the public health issue as well as social issues, right? So let's say what they have been done after 2020. From 2020, the pandemic come to the United States, and then after that, they cheat the U.S. government from President Trump. Remember, he told him it's a small code. It will be ended at the end of April. And also because China's investment and also their infiltration massively exist among the international pharmaceutical industries. Even I can identify a lot of CCP spies, covert forces inside. Anyway, they promote the vaccine and the very expensive drugs, which actually can't safely and effectively help patients of COVID-19 because first, COVID-19 is quickly shifted and also quickly mutated. Secondly, because of coronavirus itself, it has some kind of obstacle called antibody-dependent enhancement, which means you have more antibody from your previous immunity or especially on a vaccine. Later, you may get even worse attacks from the mutant. And the third thing is China People's Liberation Army and the civil labs working together. Basically, I can tell you some people come back from Harvard, Sunny Xie professor and his student Yun Longcao, and they came back from Harvard in China, and because Yun Longcao's father is PLA bioweapon general, so they were studying they have been studying the mutant escape our immunity. The COVID-19 virus. So from that time to now, and even Nature magazine gives an annual award to Cao, said, oh, he can successfully predict the COVID-19 mutant. I think that was in 2022 or 2023 when he was given the award. I wrote the paper. You may have read that when you edit that. Also to develop other type of bioweapon, including you said maybe super. So
right. That's what I want to get at, Dr. Yan. That's what I want to get at here because COVID-19 was released. We know about that. China makes, and trust me, China makes a big presentation. And you alluded to this before, make a big presentation of their military might. They have the test, the hypersonic missile. But you're right, that's expensive. And you start blowing things up. What are you going to take over? What property are you going to take? You start killing people off and taking things over. So the question is, the best way to destroy a country maybe is to get into their water system, get into the air. Right. So right. So obviously there's a progression from COVID-19. We only saw that. There has to be more. I mean, obviously they're probably working on 2021 or 22.
Chris, the thing is, COVID-19 is so hidden. Other lethal virus or pathogens, not only virus, are not that easy to be smuggled and spread widely and then cause outbreak and pandemic in the US. But the thing is, you could definitely feel suspicious of H5N1, the high pathogenetically avian flu, as well as swan flu. And also, if you read my recent article about the swan fever, the African swan fever, and that is actually ASF is very lethal for pigs. And the Chinese Communist Party studied that, and since they studied that, and then they discovered the mutant, they studied all the characteristics, and also there are a lot of hidden outbreak among Chinese pigs in China, and also this is kind of bioweapon definitely for your food supply chain. So the thing is, first, we need to know one concept. COVID-19 virus targeting human is very successful for CCP because it caused so many Pandora box style disaster. And China is still promoting WHO through the 2024 amendment try to make all the countries all over the world listen to their instructions when the next pandemic happen, and they identify that through the WHO. That means Dr. Tedros, who lied to you for COVID-19, will be the one announce the future pandemic as long as they believe there is evidence there will be potential pandemic. Think about now the chikungunya virus, where the mosquitoes are spreading disease from in China. And so luckily, I mean, I don't want to make our people get panic. Mark Rubio and RFK Kennedy, they have done a great job. So they made a joint statement several weeks ago, right before the 2024 amendment of WHO officially launched. So they rejected that. The U.S. won't collaborate with WHO for this amendment. And the U.S. government is calling for allies to withdraw from this amendment too. So now you didn't see chikungunya become pandemic announced by WHO because they can't promote this kind of policies, right? And also when we talk about super bioweapons, actually that is not easy work. First, we know the more lethal it is, then more aware of the other government will be, because you already have the bioweapon list for these lethal pathogens, and also your customers, your bioweapon, biosecurity officials will look at that. So China government first they're studying like hemorrhage fever viruses, as well as like the other kind of lethal pathogens, like even the TB, the bacteria, this kind of especially respiratory disease, plus those things which can cause acute leukemia, blood cancer, this kind of characteristics combined. We have our exclusive sources from People's Liberation Army who have visited the, who knows the things of the China's bioweapon arsenal.
Right. Can I stop you there, Dr. Yan? You said that they have weapons that can actually cause leukemia.
We got this information from our sources even back to 2022. Yeah. So they combine, I don't know how exactly they edited the gene to what exact type of the pathogen. Clearly, this maybe China doesn't know because, we have no name for COVID-19 before it was released. But the thing is, Chinese government, at least back to 2 to 3 years ago, have already over 30 types of the new type of bioweapons in their Wuhan bioweapon arsenal, BSL-4 lab. So including them, among them, there was some virus can carry the characteristic of respiratory disease, which means you inhale it, you can get infected. And then also the other characteristic is to cause you leukemia, blood cancer. And so that's why our sources very, very scared and cried and want us to deliver the information out and to prevent, try and stop it. But the thing is, it's not easy to spread such lethal pathogens, right? Like Ebola, when it happened in Africa, you always contain that. So one alternative thing is China is targeting the food supply chain of the United States. If you have seen, I recently talked about the CCP seized over 3 tons of unknown meat products from Los Angeles border from China. And this meat, they could carry, according to CCP, they said this meat could carry a lot of different unknown pathogens, including those could cause the disaster in the U.S. Right. And the smuggler is a Chinese person who repeatedly conducted such crimes.
Here's a question for you. Now, this is an interesting point here. And again, it will probably hurt and it will be uncovered after a little while, but possibly too late. What's to stop the Chinese Communist Party if relations between U.S. and China get so bad What's to stop them from keeping trade with us and maybe inserting some of this bioweapon within the products they sell to the U.S.? We always have these made in China clothing. We always have people order from Shine all the time, right from China. What's stopping them from actually inserting some of this stuff in the future, or at least researching to do so in the future, to kind of spread this around the world and take over and maybe let's say flex their muscles that way with a sort of a subtle biological warfare?
I mean, how could we stop that?
What's stopping them first, and how can we stop that if it does happen? I mean, this is something, again, I may be crawling down a rabbit hole here, but this is something that I find as a possibility if things get really rough, and it's probably why you see a lot of governments sucking up to them, knowing what they can do.
The thing is, first, you can't stop them. To be honest, I know President Trump and now his administration have done very great work. But the thing is, as long as Chinese Communist Party exists, you can't stop that because this is ideology. It's the essence of the Communist Party, especially the Chinese Communist Party. And so the thing is, we all know that they try their best to kill you, try their best to destroy your future, to conquer your land, conquer your offsprings. The only thing is you have to fight back. And also we have seen that from current Trump administration, this kind of signals, like for example, post tariffs and to push Chinese government lose their money, and also you check the Chinese students' visa. And to be honest, the China government recently have been identified to send students here for the agriculture terrorism and other kind of the crimes. And also you try to decouple with China from the business, and you reorganize your allies to force them get away from China. And more importantly, you have to show them your military, and I believe that is why Trump administration will change the name of DOD to Department of War, because as President Trump
name.
But the thing is, it has an implication. President Trump has been talking about that we can't make the best military in the world just stay there. I mean, we have to show them our forces, and you need to know that for dictators, they only know your military's power, nothing else. Because, for example, once you try to using other ways to force China stop, CCP have their network, in the darkness, they can bypass your policies through Europe, Africa, Latin America, and they are friends with Khamenei and also Maduro, and as well as president in Brazil now, right? All of them try to fight against China and fight against the US. Also, you know, Putin and Kim Jong-un are in Beijing now. And have you ever watched yesterday the live stream from BBC and other media that they all recorded Xi Jinping show off to Putin that, he's seeking the way to live to 150 years old. And he said human organ transplantation will be very helpful. We back to 3 years old reviewed this through our excluded sources. We get this information and review that through our media. So now it gets verified.
Forced organ harvesting. That's what's happening in China.
You don't need to know whether it's false or not, because the thing is, in China, first, it's not only focused on certain religious group or whatever. Basically, everyone, their DNA are in the database. So it's up to whether you will be selected. And once you're selected, and of course it's forced, but the thing is your family even don't know what happened to you, as well as your family dare to talk about that in public, then the whole family will be disappeared. The thing is, everyone is the moving organ supplier.
It's exactly, and this leads me to another question. Now, we actually, I do want to get into this as well. There was a President Xi, the CCP held a major military parade to show off their military might with their pals Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. They're sitting and they're sitting there all celebrating the glories of, well, let's say socialism, communism, because Putin was KGB. So when you were KGB, you are KGB. That's so I'm lumping him in there, even though he helped overthrow the old Soviets. But What were your thoughts on this? Again, this is what we're talking about. He was showing off the military might, but I'm under the impression, and again, after listening and reading from you for all this time, their real military might comes from the bioweapons, the things they're doing covertly, the stealing, and again, the economic things they're doing covertly by trying to de-dollarize with the help of Russia, Brazil, and other, let's say, adversarial nations. And you know what? I'm telling you something. When it comes to BRICS, Russia and China will not see eye to eye in the future, and that's going to go to heck. But we'll get to that another time. I want to get your thoughts on this this little military display. What's going on behind the scenes, and then again, the involvement of other nations' doctors. Remember, Dr. Fauci. While Joe Biden was yammering on, well, China's a problem. He didn't really do anything about it, but yammered on about it. And Dr. Fauci was sneaking around doing gain of function research with the Chinese, the Wuhan Institute of Virology et al. What about other countries? They're doing the same thing. Am I to assume that North Korea and Russia are involved in some of the bioweapons work as well, or am I way off?
Not like that. First, we know the Parade is just a psychological war against the world. She dare not use their military like that. That's why they prefer the unrestricted warfare, which is perfect crime. If they really have muscle, they will be very violent. At least you see Russia believes their military power, so they dare to invade Ukraine. But he always talk about Taiwan, but he wants to seize Taiwan in a peaceful way, And so the thing is, when we talk about the other countries, we know Soviet Union developed the bioweapons. It's not secret. It's verified by their whistleblowers, a former director who's defected to U.S., Ken Alibek. I read the book, and actually a lot of things get continued in the U.S. after collapse of Soviet Union. I can tell you now, one of the leading CCP's medical officer is public medical officer is party and also party elite studied from Soviet Union's bioweapon institute back to the end of 1980s. Also, I can tell you that CCP actually inherited, because they adopted the technologies and experts from Japanese 731 bioweapon military team after World War II, and also developed bioweapon, and his father was the one in charge of that. That's why Xi Jinping knows more about bioweapon than other CCP leaders. And also the Soviet Union passed a lot of technology. So it's not surprised they want to gain technology from US, and during the process, Fauci, Dashak, these people are used by CCP. And I could say like Dr. Tedros of WHO, he is an international communist. I know that from the insider who know him. And so we need to know how many international communists in the US. We know they exist, and we know they have been infiltrated for decades. So anyway, so people like Fauci, Dashak, these people, they can't do it in the US. And also other countries, I can tell you, of course, Iran wants the bioweapon, and even the terrorists, they want bioweapon, but none of them could do it independently without CCP's support. We know because of CCP's economic skill as well as its national immunity, because it's a country that has the immunity. So once we remove CCP regime's immunity as a legal regime, we make it illegal, and then we could, as President Trump always said, open up China, and then once you break up the CCP regime, it's I would say, at least for quite a while, it's very difficult for other countries to be the next CCP or do the similar things as CCP, especially in developing bioweapons or unrestricted bioweapon as COVID-19, because it requires international collaboration under CCP's influence and also compromised by CCP's agent for decades, and also using the people's war. So you need to have this kind of special advantages to do so.
Right. And you know what? I wish we had more time. We're heading into the 10 o'clock hour. I want to thank you for being here, Dr. Yan. Dr. Yan, and I really think we should have you on again to continue all of this. Maybe even have you on, I'll talk to Tony about having you on Sentinel Circle to get really in depth and talk about things we really cannot talk about on social media. So we're going to discuss it. Don't forget, subscribe to Tony Shaffer's Sentinel Circle if you'd like to. And that's over at ColonelTonyShaffer.com. That's ColonelTonyShaffer.com. We have some really interesting things happening with September 11th discussion, in-depth stuff. Again, things you cannot really talk about on the public portion of social media. Dr. Li-Meng Yan, thank you for being with us. And don't forget, check her out on her show, The Voice of Dr. Yan. And she is on America Out Loud Talk Radio. It's AmericaOutloud.news. You can find all the past shows. And she's on every Saturday as well, I believe 4 o'clock. So you can check the articles and everything else out here. And really, Doctor, your stuff on the CCP and everything else that's happening, the bioweapons and what they're doing behind the scenes instead of out in public is really important. People should really give it a listen and a read, because there are a lot of things we just don't know about that's happening, and would put a lot of the showmanship that's coming out of the CCP and Xi in perspective. So thank you again for being with us, and let's continue this discussion with Tony and the Patriots again.
Thank you, Chris. Of course.
Did we just freeze? I think he just froze. Anyway, thank you, Dr. Yan. Thanks for being with us, and thank you all, Patriots. We're going to be back on together on Monday. That's Tony and I, but don't forget, tomorrow it's going to be a lot of great stuff with Trixie, George, and Sean, and they have a special guest tomorrow as well. I'm pulling that up because I'm very nearsighted and I cannot see anything. I need to put things in bigger print. Alexander Bauer of Moms for Liberty, fresh off a huge press event regarding homeschooling, is going to be on with Trix, Sean, George, and the crew tomorrow. And don't forget, Frisky Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we have another 9/11 discussion coming on Monday. So for Tony, thank you, Dr. Yin, and thank you for being with us. This is Wake Up Patriots.